Hey sports fans, we're back again, and this time we're going to take a look at another son of a legend in Peyton Manning's son, Marshall Williams Manning, to see if the 10-year-old has a chance to eclipse dear old dad's football career one day. We all know what Peyton Manning meant to football and what an icon the two-time Super Bowl winner was as an Indianapolis Colt and a Denver Bronco. So today we're going to take a look at his son Marshall to see if we could already tell if he's a chip off the old block, and we'll have linemen trying to keep him upright in the NFL on the way to his own Hall of Fame career, just like his first ballot Hall of Famer father, Peyton Manning. But before we get into that, do me a favor and click that subscribe button if you haven't already to stay up to date on this channel and more videos as they drop. All done? Alright, let's do this. Peyton Manning knows a thing or two about being the son of a famous football player, as most of us know his dad was NFL great Archie Manning. So there was one young Peyton Manning whom sports fans and media were already crowning as one of the next great Mannings from the time he could throw the football. Just like his son Marshall, who just like his dad Peyton had an NFL father taking him around from city to city and practice field to practice field and, well, locker room to locker room to soak up the NFL world from a young age. Similar to Peyton's younger days with Archie, where the former New Orleans Saint took little Peyton with him everywhere he went, Peyton has been taking his son Marshall everywhere with him since and exposing him to the NFL's best players and giving him a behind-the-scenes look at what goes into the product we see out there on the football field every Sunday. Being around Peyton allowed Marshall to throw passes to some of Peyton's teammates or even do the NFL stretches and drills that he was allowed to, as there are plenty of pictures of young Marshall working out alongside his NFL father 5 years ago. Marshall's made plenty of appearances at NFL stadiums with his father, and even though Peyton is retired, you can still find Marshall on the field passing and playing with NFL stars. When Archie Manning, Marshall's famous grandfather, was still playing football, he developed a good relationship with Chicago Bears Hall of Famer running back, the late great Walter Payton. When Walter heard Archie Manning's wife, Olivia Manning, was pregnant with a son and they were going to name him Peyton, Walter called Archie to thank him for naming his son after him. Archie told Walter that he loved him, but he was naming his unborn son Peyton after his uncle and that it was spelled differently. Walter then countered with, "I know you named him after me," and even though Walter wasn't serious, the gag continued for the rest of Walter's life. Walter also made it a point to be part of Peyton's life and mentor him however he could, and was even considered Uncle Walter. Marshall is said to have developed similar relationships with some of Peyton's former teammates like Hall of Famers Edgerrin James and Marvin Harrison, who have already been serving as mentors to young Marshall and honorary uncles the same way Walter was to Peyton. Not to mention, Marshall also had a two-time Super Bowl winning uncle of his own in Eli Manning, who's also said to be actively involved in young Marshall's life and budding football career. By Peyton's admission, Marshall already has an NFL quarterback he wants to be like when he grows up, and the quarterback is not his two-time champion father, but another Super Bowl champion that hails from Kansas City. That's right, little Marshall Manning is a Patrick Mahomes fan and has become somewhat of a Mahomes and Chiefs fanatic. This may cause some issues whenever Peyton brings little Marshall to Denver to catch a game, but Peyton says Marshall's love for Mahomes and the Chiefs is very real and that Mahomes isn't a bad role model to have as a quarterback. Who knows, maybe it's only a matter of time until little Marshall's getting some schooling from Mahomes and leave Peyton and Eli's passing camps. Another Manning child who was also immersed in the Manning family spotlight and football world from a young age is Marshall's older cousin, Arch. If you haven't heard the name Arch Manning, the son of Peyton and Eli's older brother, Cooper, this certainly will not be the last place you hear it, as Arch is a #1 ranked high school quarterback prospect that's been on the name of people's tongues since his throwing exposition at Clemson this past spring, which included a highlight reel ball spin and a 45-yard touchdown strike that couldn't have been any more on the money. Like Marshall, the 16-year-old first popped up on Football Raiders after some Twitter videos of him throwing before high school came out, and the media had been speculating ever since, wondering if Archie would develop into an NFL player like his famous uncles and grandfather. Arch, like Marshall, has been surrounded by all the perks of being part of the Manning football family, getting some of the best football training and coaching, as well as some good old football family DNA, which has allowed Arch to continue the trend of top high school prospects bound for greatness. Arch is said to have the mobility of his grandfather, the poise of his uncle Eli, and the precise passing of his uncle Peyton. When you get tips from all the Mannings that come before you, it pays off in dividends, and while it's working famously for Arch, we're sure that young Marshall's going to get the same tips of the trade from his Hall of Fame and Super Bowl winning family members. While it's impossible to say what a 10-year-old will do when he grows up or if he'll even play football, it's safe to say that Marshall is off to a good start. What have we seen from Marshall Manning so far? Well, he exercised with Peyton pre-game like we talked about, and when he was a Denver Bronco, he could be seen throwing a football far for a kid his age, as seen in the limited video content circulating the web. He's also said to be involved when the cameras aren't rolling, which is something the Mannings hope will remain secret for as long as possible, as was with Arch Manning, whom Cooper and the family kept out of the media's eyes for as long as possible, until he couldn't go unnoticed anymore as a top high school prospect. It remains to be seen if Marshall will even continue football, but as the son of one of the greats to ever play quarterback, we're going to say it's very likely that Marshall continues on this journey and carries on the family tradition. We will have to check back in about 5 years or so when he's in high school to see. Alright, sports fans, that does it for our time on Marshall Manning and his chances of eclipsing his Hall of Fame father, Peyton Manning. Pro athletes start developing earlier and earlier these days, and while it may seem that Marshall is too young to be taken too seriously in the sports world, these are crucial years where he's actually developing some of the fundamentals that will help him be great. We're sure with Peyton as his father and the 10-year-old already knowing he wants to play quarterback that the Manning football family tradition should continue from Arch to Marshall and the other Manning's offspring. Let us know what you think by dropping a comment, and as always, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor and click that subscribe button so you can get more content as soon as it drops. Until next time, sports fans.